Hi, Bright Lights. Welcome and thank you for being here. My name is Tina, and in today's video, we're going to talk about oligarchies. Doesn't that sound like fun? And what us beautiful, wonderful, bright light empaths think about all of the madness that's going on in the world today. I believe you can probably feel there's a lot of unsettled energy. It feels like there's something coming, something's going to pop, and you can kind of see things are being stirred up a little bit. Don't look at the media right now. It's getting a little cray cray out there. But I want to welcome all the new subscribers, and if you're new here, thank you for being here. We're going to take a little bit of a deep dive in the empath versus oligarchy dilemma we have going on right now. So, as I was saying, there seems to be this ongoing theme of the rise of oligarchies across the globe. This is not new and is actually a pretty natural cycle to life in the 3D world. This video is not about spreading any more fear or doom across the energetic fields. That causes a lot of confusion and despair and hopelessness. We are more about empowerment on this channel. So that is not what we're here to do, but we need to kind of talk about this and what's going on with all of this energy and where are we headed. So I think it's about understanding the natural progression of growth and expansion, and that growth, which is not founded in truth, the highest form of love, that is what truth is, eventually collapses. To understand this principle, I invite you to read the book Power versus Force by Dr. David R. Hawkins. Will kind of explain everything to you regarding what true power is and what force is all about and how that kind of implodes upon itself. So, what is an oligarchy? It is the definition, a small group of people having control over a country, an organization, or an institution. The famous philosopher Aristotle pioneered the term to mean ruled by the rich. He was more than just a philosopher, though, because he had also observed the patterns and cycles of 150 different Greek states. So he understands some of the concepts I'm going to talk about here, and that's where I got some of my information. I am going to take it a little bit further and say that this type of control, which ignites the oligarchy, is really the distortion created by the narcissist. Not all rich people are narcissists, but the ones that create an oligarchy are. As in typical narcissist fashion, the oligarchy is created by a distorted sense of greed and avarice, which gobbles up competition and creates monopolies to drain the people and the earth of their energy, time, and resources. And it doesn't matter what the country identifies as. It can be democratic. We are a republic here in the United States. It can be communism or socialism. It starts with the gobbling up of smaller companies into larger ones, no matter what segment you're in. And it's about pushing out the competition or to even into the government to create legislation to control new innovations. They always act like they're about innovation and they're about free market and all of these things. They're not. That's the narcissist lie. The narcissists always push out anyone who is in competition with them or does not agree with what they are doing. They want everything for themselves. They want total control. If we look at the US right now, it started with this narcissistic infiltration into the government, where the laws get rolled back to allow for this feeding frenzy that is about to happen. Then it's the media to control the narrative. And so we know how the narcissist loves to control the narrative. So right now we have 6 corporations that own 90% of the media worldwide. Worldwide. Consolidation of the food chain has driven up prices and has driven down wages. I worked for a large food manufacturer for over 4 years, and During my time there, I watched benefits, bonuses, and retirement dollars get cut year after year, even though the company was having its best years, its best profits. And this company also were gobbling up other companies. And the consumer doesn't know this because the they don't change the name of these companies or the brand name. So it's just the ownership changes hands. So the consumers think they have a lot more choices than they really do. That's all part of that little deception they have going on. And obviously, this is a very high overview. This is my own personal observations, a lot of this. So, and I'm not hitting on, there's numerous ways that the narcissist is infiltrating our structures and our systems. I've recently have done another video on this earlier. So, however, this type of narcissistic grab, as we know, it goes very deep. And once the energy takes hold, it grows and grows. It's like a cancer, it feeds and feeds. But it does eventually implode. The energy, even though it takes on a life of its own, and this feeding frenzy, that you kind of can feel it going on right now in the energy, it does fizzle out. What happens is as the narcissists end up in their own echo chamber because they have to eliminate anybody who doesn't agree with them. And then you're going to see the narcissist feeding on the narcissist. This is the final state before the collapse, even though it may seem that they have established so much power that they couldn't possibly collapse, but they will have their narcissistic collapse. It's always happens. So don't be in despair. It doesn't mean that you don't see the suffering going on in the world, but don't despair. This is all part of a larger cycle that plays out. And my guides reminded me of this country song. It's an older country song by Gary Allan called Every Storm Runs Out of Rain. I want to read some of the lyrics to you to give you kind of how we can put this into perspective. So it starts out, I saw you standing in the middle of thunder and lightning. I know you're feeling like you just can't win, but you're trying. It's hard to keep on keeping on when you're just being pushed around. Don't even know which way is up. You just keep spinning down, round, down. And that's where they want to cause confusion, chaos, make you feel like you're lost. And then of course his main chorus is every storm runs out of rain, just like every dark night turns into day. Every heartache will fade away, just like every storm runs out of rain. So hold your head up and tell yourself that there's something more and walk out that door. Go find a new rose. Don't be afraid of the thorns, because we all have thorns. Just put your feet up to the edge, put your face in the wind, and when you fall back down, keep on remembering that every storm runs out of rain. And so then he ends with, it's going to run out of pain. It's going to run out of sting. It's going to leave you alone. It's going to set you free, set you free. So that was kind of how he ends it. It's going to set you free. It's going to run out of pain. It's going to set you free. And I think that's the big part of this message here. So, but this is why we came here, us awakened empaths, us light workers, star seeds. We knew we were coming here in these very tumultuous times to ground the energy, to look for the new ways of freedom. So, and we're also here to help awaken the other empaths that might be giving away their power to the cycle because they have forgotten their own power within. So, how do we, as more enlightened empaths, affect the greatest change? So, it is a great importance right now that we continue to do our inner work, being mindful with our time, energy, and resources. I go into a little bit more of this in that previous video that I did. And so, because again, it's about how the narcissist corrodes even the most consciousness of structures. And I love to go back to Esther Hicks, who channels Abraham. And she always states, There are just some people who are not going to let you play in their club. So take your ball and go and play somewhere else. And this is such simple, but very, very deep advice. And I would also like to know that I just did a collective reading and revolution is in the air. However, we want to make sure that it is done in a nonviolent way. Some of the most aggressive revolutions that happened to people and governments ended up not serving the people. They actually ended up in a worse situation than they were before. So it's not, it just was another narcissistic power grab. So it's all about patience, patience, patience. So, because there's no quick fix. We are in a rebuilding season. And I remember when I played basketball way, way back in my high school days, and when I was a sophomore, most of the really good players were seniors who were graduating. And then when they left, the coach, pulled us all in. We are now in a rebuilding phase. And it took us a few years before we were back winning some games, but it was just by continuing to do the work and improving. And as an empath, you can hold the vision of the world, how you want to create the world deep in your heart by following your passion, whatever that means, whether you want to start painting again or doing music or just starting to search out new ways to express yourself. That's where the power really is. Bringing more joy into the world is the biggest antidote to the narcissistic storm. There is nothing more inspirational than seeing someone who loves life and doesn't get bothered by the drama. This doesn't mean that you don't have compassion and empathy for those that are really suffering. It's more about focusing what resources you have by choosing independent networks and employed owned companies. I loved when COVID had hit and I saw so many people quit their jobs and go out and buy a piece of land and do organic farming, or they found other ways to support their community and what they wanted to see in the world. So it's about building a parallel system, not confronting and tackling the narcissist system because they will interfere in the energy. And remember, they love confrontation. We do our work in silence with love, grace, and compassion, supporting people in our communities in any way that we can. This is where true power resides. During this time, there will be a greater awakening within the empath community, and this is a good thing. Just like the lyrics say, it is going to set you free. The darkness always serves the light. And I want to end on something that my dad used to say to me, that he was a guy who just worked in a manufacturing job and didn't make a lot of money his whole life, but he would always say to me when there'd be a lot of this political drama and stuff going on, he would say, you can fool all of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all of the people all of the time. Trust in your fellow man to wake up. Change is coming. It always does. Let it wake you up and set you free. And remember just how important you are. I love you so much. Thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next video.